What's going on? My name is Andrew Waring. I was fortunate enough to be the winner of the American Pro um, Belgian Grand Prix winner in Pro 1. God, I struggled through that. There's just a couple key moments in the race I really wanted to point out. It kind of went unnoticed on the broadcast, just, how stressful these races were and how hard Christian and I were definitely competing against each other and pushing each other. And some of the things that led to what they are. So, first of all, let me set the sound right here. Oh, I need to do this. That's why. So let's. So first of all, in the race, a lot of people were using the launch controller, some kind of launch control. Like if you go to Christian's car here and we'll go to cockpit, you can see he's kind of like revving around this 10,000. Um, Me, I found if I just put it in first and didn't rev it at all and just hit the gas, it really launched off quite well. Other than Travis, unfortunately. Thankfully, it was a good start. And Christian, I knew Christian was probably going to come and try and get me in the first sector here. Him and I were pretty close on race pace and qualifying pace in general. So he comes to the outside, and thankfully, I think he was probably from not racing me a lot, but he was pretty cautious. But we gave each other plenty of room. This gap's important later in the race. We gave each other plenty of room. It was really fun, and thankfully, I got in the lead and was able to put my head down. And there wasn't too much drama behind us, but so first key thing of the race, we decided to do a two-stop strategy with pitting on lap 15, 30, and then running to the end of the race. But what didn't account for was the fact that I would use my tear off as a pit limiter button. So if you listen really carefully here, I'll shut up. I accidentally hit the tear off button, thinking I hit the pit limiter button, gas it to go on the pit limiter, speed up to like 40 miles an hour, and then slam on the brakes, realizing, oh my God, I've probably just gotten myself a drive through. So here, have a listen. It was quick. Thankfully, I found that really quickly, but I thought I was getting a drive through for sure. And Christian was definitely able to close quite a bit on me there. I think it was around, it wasn't a huge gap going into the pits, maybe around 1.7 seconds. Um, but he definitely, he aced the pit entry and definitely gained some time. I was able to get some of it back when we rejoined the pack, and I got some good breaks with some lap traffic and some really good draft. But um, the biggest moment really in this race happens on lap 26 for me. So I'm going along. At this point in time, I have almost a 3-second gap to Christian. And it was extending at this point. I think I stretched it from like 2.2 to 3. It was really, the car was feeling really good, really hitting my marks. But what, honestly, I didn't practice at all during all the, sessions we did and stuff, was the fact that there'd be a wind, such a big wind at that. So coming into this section here, there would be a side wind pressing on the left of the car, which turns into the right of the car, which at this point now is a headwind. So you can really break deep into this corner. And the problem is this becomes now a tailwind for this downhill corner, which is already pretty slidey as it is. And I have a massive moment here. So at this point, I was pretty much, as soon as I touched the curb, I'm pretty much thinking I'm going in the wall and the race is done. I've just blown my best chance at a majors win. Thankfully, I was able to recover it. And Christian did close the gap on me, but I had such a big gap, or reasonably big gap at that point, it was okay. Definitely stressful, and I got away with it scot-free, thank God. And with pit stops coming up in 4 laps as well, I knew it was going to be something what I didn't account for was just my inexperience in iRacing in general, was the fact that I don't use like a JRT or a crew chief or anything. So I'm doing all these fuel calculations in my head, and I just with the pressure of running in front of Christian, pressure of being in a majors is a big deal, especially America's Pro One. All the Division Pro One races are a really big deal. I just kind of forgot to change the fuel load that I had in the car. So the second stop after the first stint, I pitted with I believe it was about 9 pounds of fuel in the car. So the fuel consumption around 8 pounds a lap. So at this point, um, this is my going on to my 30th lap. So I'm going to come in at the end of this lap. I had something like 24 pounds of fuel in the car, which means I could have done at least to a lap 33 and then just done an 11 lap stint. But again, me being inexperienced, not really knowing the consequences of that, I just stuck to what I knew I was going to do, which was coming in on the end of this lap and putting in another 123 pounds of fuel, which unfortunately the problem with that is for the last 14 laps, because it's even shorter stint, means I'm overfueled now by roughly 40 pounds. Um, at the time when I came out of the pits, I didn't know this, and especially Christian here. That's him up there just exiting pit. He was able to go out a lap longer because he understood that he was saving a little bit more fuel maybe than he expected, or he had a bit more fuel than he expected. Whatever. He stayed out that other lap on the low fuel car, which he was absolutely flying on, and was able to close the gap, and not only that, but extend it obviously. So now I'm in second going into the last stint, and I'm not even knowing the fact that I'm pretty much 40 pounds overweight, which in the F1 car, I think weight burn was about a tenth a lap, you know? So every 8 pounds was around a tenth. Um, but at this point, like I said, all I really wanted to do was make sure that I got close to him with his colder tires, um, and try and get him. I had to react as quickly as I could because I knew I was faster on the heavy car compared to him at the end of the stint when he was really quick with a light car. So not this lap, but I believe the next lap, I'm close enough and I get a good run out of the corner. And I'm coming up the Eau Rouge and Radeon with him. But what's important here is unfortunately Christian and I have a bit of a netcode issue. And it's similar to lap one, but the roles are reversed. Now I'm on the inside of the second corner here and Christian's on the outside. And I mean, the gap is about the same here as it was on the first lap. And unfortunately for Christian, the netcode just absolutely destroys him in probably one of the most graceful flips I've ever seen. He sticks to landing. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty bad about myself. I've just had an incident, even though I didn't know what really happened. I didn't get any feedback through the wheel of contact. I got a damage, X on the top of the screen, and Christian was on the radio. Just I couldn't really hear him, but at this point, I really didn't know what happened. I'm feeling pretty shaken up, and I don't know, just I don't know, just nerves. It's not something I wanted to do. Like I have a moment there. Um, and I'm feeling pretty bad. Thankfully, right now, Alex Ellis takes over second, and as you can see, the gap to him is quite substantial. I think it was around 6 seconds, with Steve, my teammate, being in third right there. So I still have quite a big gap to the other drivers, and I can manage it at this point, even if I have damage, which I don't think I did. But what started to become apparent, especially on lap, I'm going to say 40, was the fact that I was so overfueled. So I don't know if we can view laps for the race here, for instance, but you can see Alex in this last stint here, pretty much from here down. You can just see how consistent he is and quick he is compared to me, where I was, pretty inconsistent and overall just really quite a nervous wreck. I was making quite a bit of mistakes, especially on lap 40 here. It's in the second big moment. Um, that tailwind into that one corner, the corner with no name, it was killing me throughout the race. I found that's where the satellite cars were really catching up to me the most. You know, I was really good down here, but then this is what happened on lap 40. And it doesn't look like much, but to the people that drove this race, I think you can appreciate just how big of a moment. Even here at this point, you can already see the cars over rotating. Like we're not even at the apex, and I'm hard not even turning the car. So um, I somehow, thankfully, really caught it. Alex was able to definitely close the gap. Um, and then after that, I just said, like whatever happens, happens. And thankfully, I was able to take the win. But it was one of the most stressful races I've ever done. I raced karts, cars, and honestly, I remember a race that was ever this stressful. So yeah, I don't know. It's just an insane race, and I'm overjoyed still to win it. And I can't wait for the next one. So I'll see you guys then.